Yeah, hard to see, but it's buy and sell. Alrighty. Hey, Mom, turn your music down. All right. Welcome to Forex.Today, the YouTube community of more than 19,000 foreign exchange traders. That's you. That's all of us. That's cool. If you're here for some global macroeconomic analysis or maybe some technical analysis, good. You're in the right place. Ask questions, get involved. Let's get on with it. Let me remind you that trading is risky. It's not appropriate for everyone. Your past performance, good or bad, is not necessarily indicative of future results. Please stay small, stay humble, focus on the long term, never risk money you cannot afford to lose. My name is Wayne McDonell. I am a currency trader. Before that, I was a venture capitalist. Before that, I was a high-tech entrepreneur. Before that, I worked in the nonprofit world, sitting on the board of directors with George Soros. Before that, I worked at NASA. And before that, I had a paper route. Yeah. So that's my path. I bring a lot to the table, lots of experiences. The bottom line is I look at Forex as a business. If you look at Forex as a way to get rich quick, you and I do not see eye to eye. And I don't think we're going to be able to communicate. And that's that. That's that. So if you're on the let's build a business track, yeah, then here we is. I'd like to invite you to visit tradersway.com. You're going to need a broker. That's that. You're going to need a broker. So how do you choose a broker? How about one that has a business model that you understand? A business model of if you succeed, they succeed. If you're successful, they're successful. If you are able to put knowledge together, experience together, education together, and trade profitably with low volatility and consistent returns over long periods of time, you will stay a trader and you'll love being a trader. Well, to Trader's Way, that's really cool because you would be a client for a very, 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 very long time. They will provide a service to you, charge reasonable fees, give you fast execution speed. You're happy as can be. They're happy as can be, and we call that a symbiotic relationship. Other brokers, what they do is they hope you open up an account and blow it up. They expect you to blow it up. They couldn't care less if you blew it up or not. In fact, they're probably trading against you because they expect you to blow it up, and that way if they trade against you, if you blow up your $1,000 trading account, it didn't matter because they never actually executed those trades and they just keep your $1,000. Well, that, in my opinion, sucks. So that's why Trader's Way has earned my loyalty and respect many, 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 many years ago. Give them a shot. Tradersway.com. How you feeling? You're looking good. Market must be up. Okay, take a look. We have some dollar strength. Ooh la la, dollar strength, but the stock market up. Dollar strength, but the bond market down. That's weird. That doesn't make sense. I know, right? It's a beautiful day. Don't let it get away. Meanwhile, yen is weak and the stock market's up. That makes sense. The yen is weak and the bond market's down. That makes sense. That's weird. It's very, 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 very rare for dollar to be strong and yen to be weak at the same time. Well, cool. That was part of my trade plan. Cool. Nice. Got lucky there. All right, what else going on? Pig roared back. Great big pig. Roared back. It went from weak to super strong. Aussie up, neutral. Euro neutral. CAD neutral. Swissy strong. So not a lot to buy quite yet on the yens, but we'll take a look at them. And it looks like more like sell Aussie dollar, sell euro dollar, buy USD CAD, sell Kiwi dollar. Cool. And the interesting thing is that's basically my portfolio, although I am short pound dollar. And is all I have to say about that. Pound yen probably doing great. Yeah, I mean, we could start there. I don't want to do all yens, but we can start there. Oh my good. Okay. Now, the interesting thing is this is the only pair that didn't really come down yesterday. So it's off to the races. It's a tough trade. This is the only out of position trade, really. I mean, some of the other ones had come down further. I'll be honest with you. A lot of my trade planning on this one, and let me find my drawing tool. Not on this one, but all yen pairs, is I wanted to get down here first. And you can see, wow, pound yen didn't even get close. Now, some of them got close and still may come down there, but this one's Oscar Mike for sure on the move. Okay. All right. So that one is a standout. Okay. We take a look at here. Once again, okay, this is an S1, 200 EMA. It's a mediocre setup. Okay, it's a mediocre setup. So even though pound has made a higher high, when I see a mediocre setup like this, I wouldn't be shocked if we still have this in the cards. Now, I wouldn't think that on the pound yen, but on the Aussie yen, I'm like, dude, I don't really care about S1 setups. I don't really care about 200 EMA setups. You see what I mean? So anyways, whatever. If you're on it and making money, good for you. Awesome. Great. Okay, let's go with the commodities. How many people here trade Bitcoin? Well, we're at that interesting spot. Okay. We're at this interesting spot. If you recall yesterday, in December, we had $44,444.44 is our December target. And we're still not too far from that. We're at 46.5. Okay, basically 44.5 was our projected target last month. Now we're on a monthly M2. So now there's a battle here. Price, okay, kicking off the 21 to the downside, or market bottoming out and heading up. Okay, which one? I don't know. So you should know which one you want. Now, notice that if you're a seller, you want it to go up to 49 or 50. Okay, and if you're a buyer, you kind of want a 1, 2, 3, which means you drop out of the daily, you go into a 15-minute, and you would have done something like bought in here. Or if you drop instead go to the hour, you would have played, I mean, it's not that complicated, right? You would have played a double bottom here. The next sort of situation is a higher low would make you feel even more comfortable. Double bottom followed by a higher low would be great, right? So the thing is, you're building. Okay, one of the things we're doing in the day trading group is, as traders, building our own mental algorithm so that when you're in situations like that, you say to yourself, what are my rules of engagement? How do I trade a double bottom? So, for example, Gary might say, hey, when I trade a double bottom, I wait for the higher high relative to this high, okay? And then I will buy the higher low relative to that, right? So Gary would say, in these situations as a bull, okay, I wait for that. And that would be how you would, because remember, to program an algorithm, you have to tell it what your rules of engagement are. In this situation, do these 9 things. In that situation, do these 12 things. Well, if you don't know, then you can't tell a computer. Now, you might say, well, I want the computer to tell me what to do. Well, then the computer doesn't need you. You need to create some value. You understand? Okay? Brian wants some ETH. Sure. Sure. Does it have the right? I haven't looked at Ethereum in a bit. See, I only have Classic. That's not the right one. Or do I have the other one? Stellar Lumens. Classic, but that's the wrong one. Sorry, I haven't really looked at these in a while. I don't have the right one. Unless I'm just not looking in the right spot, which is probably pretty true. Monero. Yeah, you don't want Classic, right? Bitcoin, here it is. Sorry, they put it up here. All right. I thought it was there, but I couldn't see it. All right. Okay, let's do it, right? No, I got it. I got it. Okay, let's do this. Yeah. I just, for some reason, they don't keep it in the crypto space. They keep it somewhere else. Okay. All right. So the question was 3,400. Well, we're not near 3,400. Okay. So what this is saying, what this chart is saying here is 3,600 is the January low if you're a bull. That's the predicted January low. So you're saying 36. This is saying 34. Okay? And from that, you double bottom, higher high, higher low. Okay? That's the one I just outlined. Okay? On the other pair, the same type of trade setup. Okay? Okay, 1 is the double bottom. 2 is the higher high. 3 is the roll reversal. And I call this the roll reversal. Okay, that's not quite how that's set up, but it acts the same way. Or you can do the higher low if you want. Okay, so if that is the case, you would be buying these buy zones. Okay, so today would look like this, tomorrow would look like that. So that's the short run. The longer run, if that holds true, Ethereum is going to 4,800. $4,800. Okay. Brian, you should be my Bitcoin or Ethereum portfolio manager. Yep. All right, crude oil. Well, there's my plan. And so far, it ain't not true. Yeah, Darko, I heard the hash rate is at all-time highs again. Well, since you've been a boot camp member, Brian, for what has it been, 12 years? More than that, huh? 14 years? You're qualified. You just got to pay the money, bro, and get yourself in. you, you got to step up. Kick down, come clean, no be old out machine. Yeah. Anyways, it'd be great. I don't really have sort of like clientele at the moment for it, but you know it's out there. So it's sort of like, you build it and they will come. Darko says, yeah, it just needs some patience. Yeah, it's amazing though, right, Darko, where the hash rate was cut in half and now it's at all-time highs. Yeah, I got to find a home base first. Yeah. I think it was more than 12. It's been more than 12 years. I think, what, Brian, you joined in 2006, I was thinking. So, yeah, yeah, for sure. Hey, Gregors. Okay, so anyways, oil is doing that, and to me, it's modestly up. Meaning, if you caught my outlook, a week and a half ago, I did an outlook, and it says, yeah, more up than down, but not very up. So, it'd be interesting just how we play out this range here. Sure. Yeah, Raymond. Sure. So anyways, somebody wanted gold, huh? Gold! All right, let's try to look at this. Nothing happened last year on gold, and right now we're bouncing off the average price. Yeah, Kazakhstan, huh? Yeah, that's so interesting. Yeah, you know what the problem with Kazakhstan is? It's Kazakhstan. Hey, great place for rockets and oil, though. Kazakhstan is an interesting place. I'd actually probably like to visit it, but briefly. But I remember I was at a wedding in Texas. A buddy of mine was getting married, and he's like, "You got to come to the wedding." So I jump on a plane, fly out to Texas. And I'm just shooting the shit with people in the audience because I went on my own. I was rolling solo, didn't know anybody because I knew him from the college days. He went to Berkeley, super high educated, smarty pants, and then he worked for me in one of my startups for a while. Super nice guy, super smart. Then all of a sudden, now we're in small town Texas, right? Most people didn't go to Berkeley. There's just random people. And of course, I didn't know them because they weren't from that area, right? They were from the Silicon Valley. So I don't know anybody. And I just start, I look around, I'm like, who's dressed the nicest? Who's got the money? And I see that this guy, he and his princess wife walk in. And I'm like, that dude's got money, right? So anyway, so I walk up and they're like, hey, what's up, guys? And I strike up a conversation. Sure enough, he's in the oil business, right? And I'm like, well, I'm in Texas. This guy's dressed nice, right? Wife's got jewels all over her. I'm like, yep, they got money. So anyways, turns out he's in the oil business. And I'm like, yeah, so, where in Texas are you drilling? He's like, oh, I don't know, not Texas, Kazakhstan. You're like, yeah, you go, boy. You're like, no kidding, right? Same thing. I was in Canada in a tiny little town. strike up a conversation with some guy, and he's been in the oil business his whole life. And I'm like, yeah, so where in Alberta, where's your oil patch? Are you around here? Are you up in Fort McMurray? Like, what's going on? And he's like, no. Right? No, I go to the Middle East. You're like, what? Yeah, no. It's all in the Middle East. But you live in a small town in Alberta, Canada. Yeah, but between Qatar and Bahrain and, he's like, I'm out there all the time. All the time. I go 3-4 months at a time. I'm like, you're kidding. I remember I got so mad because, nobody told me when I was a kid that I could be in the middle of nowhere, Canada, but live a life where I spend 6 months out of the year in Bahrain or Qatar or something, right? I'm like, I've never even heard of those countries when I was a kid. And then people around me, and then they live in the small town. I'm like, you're kidding me. Okay? So anyways, right? Mining and refining chrome and platinum ore. How nice is that, right? Yeah. When I was a kid, all my bikes had to be chrome. Chrome was the big thing. Your bike had to be shiny. I remember polishing my bicycle, and I got it so shiny one time. A crow, while I was riding my bike, was riding to the 7-Eleven, and a crow took a dive at me because it was so sparkly in the sun. he went for it, and I'm like, oh my God. So anyways, going back to this, look, nothing happened last year, and now we're at the average price. So somebody asked earlier, hey, what about gold? Can you analyze gold? Yeah. It hasn't done anything since September 2020. So what happened was gold was bought by central banks. Now it's too expensive for regular human beings to buy, because remember, they didn't use money, or they didn't use their money, they used the bank's money, right? So the banks exchanged their currency for gold. Their balance sheet remained the same, but the value of their currency fell. So Abdullah, this is sad. Well, it's not sad. I want you to understand, because if you understand, then you'll know what will make it move, because it ain't moving statistically. Compared to like the stock market, the bond market, the currency markets, the crypto markets, everything else has moved a lot. Gold hasn't moved a lot. So I want you to understand the market before you get caught up in everything else, right? You have to understand the fundamental flow of capital. Okay? In response to COVID, so let's pick on India. India exports. Okay? To everybody. Okay? So, does India as a country want a strong currency or a weak currency? Okay. Yeah, it wants a weak currency. But when COVID first hit back in this period of time, remember, this is all COVID in here, so I'll do it in there. When that hit and the Indian economy closed, Indians around the world that had investments around the world brought their money home because they knew they were going to be short on cash, plus the stock market dropped 40%. Remember that, guys? Remember when the stock market dropped 40%? Well, if you had stop losses, you got knocked out of your positions. India shut its borders, locked everybody in their apartments, and everybody was short of cash, and their investments needed to come off because the global crisis. So when the money comes home, USD, let's say, because let's say they were invested in America. Okay, USD got converted back into Indian rupees. So there was a decrease in the value of the US dollar relative in this exchange and an increase in Indian rupee. So the value of Indian rupee, okay, went up in this exchange. Dollars were sold, rupees were bought, which means when this period hit, and I'm looking at the calendar here, early 2020, the Indian rupee went up in value. But we just said here that India wants a weak rupee. Okay? So in response to the strong rupee, India, the Central Bank of India, bought gold. And by the way, I was teaching you this as it was happening. How many people here remember that? As it was happening, while things were going crazy, while there was a giant spike in gold, while the crisis was taking place in the moment, I was able to break it down into digestible pieces and explain using logic and simple language what was actually happening. Without the skies falling, without locking ourselves in our prepper stash, right? Without talking about the end of the world, just simply, oh, this is what central banks do. Okay, cool. So the Indian rupee went up and the Central Bank of India said, okay, we want to weaken our currency somehow. So they took the Indian rupee and exchanged it again. In this case, they exchanged it for gold. So they went out into the global market. So here's gold. Here's gold. Here's gold. Gold all over the world. Okay? Canadian gold. Gold from Ghana. Gold from Australia. Okay? India said, all right, we take our Indian rupees, okay, and we exchange it for gold. The value of gold goes up, the value of Indian rupee goes down. Now, there might have been an intermediary step here. So I said gold, where was this from? Gold from Canada, I think, right? So Indian rupee to CAD, CAD to gold. And the gold goes to the vault in India. They gave up Indian rupees, but they got gold. Then they went here. I don't know if Ghana has a currency, but anyways, they exchanged it and brought the gold here, but sold the Indian rupee to buy Ghana's currency. Sorry, I don't know what the Ghana currency is. And then they exchanged, they took Indian rupees out of the vault, okay, exchanged it for Australian dollars. So the value of the Aussie dollar went up, the value of the Indian rupee went down. Okay, with the Aussie dollar, they bought gold, and then they sent the gold, they lifted the gold and put it in the vault in India. So what happened to the balance sheet? Okay, assets, liabilities. Okay, they used to have 1 billion cash, let's say. But what they did is now, right, and they had zero gold. Gold, they had zero. Okay? Then, when they decided to exchange their cash for 1 billion in gold, what happened to the balance sheet? Nothing. Yeah, Raymond, South Africa's got a lot of gold, but it's just a biatch to deal with, right? Like I'd go to South Africa before I go to Ghana, but I know people. I know several people that buy gold from Ghana all the time, but it is a pain. But you get a better price. It's discounted because of that. But South Africa is not that complicated, but it's complicated. It would just be easier to buy it from Canada and Australia first. Okay. No, Lucas, no, that doesn't make sense. Lucas, no. And if you buy Litecoin, it should take an hour and it would be almost free. It'd be so cheap. Okay. Are they buying digital gold or physical gold? I don't know. I would imagine physical gold, but honestly, I don't know. And I don't know if it matters, right? Matrix, that's true though, isn't it? Litecoin, like Bitcoin's expensive, but Litecoin isn't. Anyway, so I look at this, and so going back to the question, okay, this is central bank buying, not retail, not normal supply and demand per se. This is central banks. XLM is cheapest. Yeah, but now if you're talking about $2 versus $1.50, it wouldn't matter, right? But yeah, Litecoin, yeah. Um, there's also like Tether, but I don't know the fees for that. So anyway, so the question is, these central banks, what are they doing with it? There might have been some buying. And by the way, Israel and several other countries were buying at that time, and I was explaining it at that time. And then my question once we hit the top is, why would they ever get out? Maybe they never get out. Like, you have to ask yourself, when does India want a strong rupee? Because if they want a strong rupee, they can sell their gold, right? Remember how they had to buy Aussie dollar? Well, they could sell their gold for Aussie dollar and then convert it back to rupee, which means they take their Aussie dollar and they go into the interbanking system like everybody else and buy a whole bunch of rupee, driving up the price of the rupee. So when would the Central Bank of India want a strong rupee? And maybe never. Or in situations of rampant inflation. So maybe you look for those types of things, right? So to the people that are asking questions about gold every day, I want you to think about that. Like, when will India rebalance its balance sheet and say, we want less gold, we want more rupee? Because more rupee would increase demand for rupee, which would increase the value for rupee, which then would maybe lower inflation, or maybe they never do it. But I'll tell you, back in this period here, India at the central bank held more gold in its vaults than ever, than in the history of the Central Bank of India. And the cool thing is, as this was happening, I was teaching you this. Okay? And showing you proof, by the way. Because I was looking at the balance sheet at the Reserve Bank of India, and I'm like, look at that. Okay? Now, can I ask you a question? Because I don't watch any live streams on YouTube. Do other gurus cover that kind of information and show you the central bank balance sheets and show you the change and then explain why it's happening and its effect on the markets? I mean, I'm not fishing for compliments, although it sounds like I am. I honestly don't know. I really, honestly, genuinely don't know what other people talk about. Okay. Okay. Oh, Marina knows of one. Okay, cool. Interesting. All right, so even if I suck on everything else, at least you can tune in and to that and tune out of everything else, right? That is what separates me from the rest. All right, cool. 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 he's he's from Canada. What part of Canada? Don't take criticism nicely. Yeah, I get bitchy when people heckle and stuff, but Marina will tell you. Marina emailed me one time, a very stern email, and she's like, "You're doing this wrong, you're doing that wrong, this is coming across poorly. You do these good things, but then you got a lot of shit you need to get together." And I hope I took that criticism to heart and made some positive changes. So I know I'm not, I'm a stubborn old goat, but I do try. And that's just one example because more than one person's done it. I usually get the arrogant prick stuff. Tiago says, I met you 7 years ago, but I never cared about macro. Yeah. Oh, right on, Tiago. All right. All right. So let's check out dollars. Grand Prairie, huh? Fort St. John. Is that Alberta? Grand Prairie. I don't think that's Saskatchewan. That's Grand Prairie, Saskatchewan, or Alberta. I don't know that town. I know the name. I don't think in Fort St. John. I'm not that familiar with them. The names are familiar, but other than that, I couldn't tell you. Okay. Don't you have to be a little cocky to trade? Yeah, I suppose. But the trick with that, though, King, is there's a humility to it. One of the things I teach a lot is being hyper aware of being wrong, but still confident in sort of your ability to plan, but not your confidence in being right. All right. So like, there's a quote that I brought up a couple of months ago with the day trading group. and from this old trader that traded like 50 years. He was a professional trader, making billions of dollars, right? And what was it? Do you guys remember? Strong opinions, weak conviction. Which means you have to know 1,000% over exactly what you want to do and all 19 reasons why you are right. But soon as things go wrong, you get the hell out. Okay? So you have to have strong opinions and be able to back it up with research. I'm right because of this, and this. I got this. I know exactly what I want to do and exactly why I want to do it. But as soon as it starts failing, you're out. And some of the examples I've given over the years, the best one that I like is long-term capital management. So you could look into it if you're going to do some research or reading. Look into LTCM, long-term capital management. It was a hedge fund that when it blew up, almost took down the entire U.S. economy, and the government had to get in to bail people out. That's a big hedge fund. How did this hedge fund get so big? It was started by Nobel Prize winners. Two. Okay? Black and Scholes. I think it's that way, right? So you can look up the Black-Scholes option pricing model. That's what they won the Nobel Prize for. And so then they went out and started a hedge fund and like, dude, 2 Nobel Prize winners want to start a hedge fund? Man, raising billions of dollars was easy. They had strong opinions, but strong convictions. And no matter how wrong they were, they kept betting. Huh. Okay. And another theme that we've been doing in the day trading group, I've been introducing people to the history of various very famous or very successful hedge fund managers. And one thing you keep hearing about in all these guys' history was the Russian default. Okay? And that is what actually ended up blowing up long-term capital management. Not the event itself, but how they responded to it, because they had strong convictions as well as strong opinions. And that's what happened. They blew themselves up because they refused to adjust. And I'm hyper aware of being willing, even though I'm confident or cocky, what is much more important is being so strong of a personality that you can admit you're wrong. And a weak person can't admit they're wrong. A weak person can't apologize. So in this case, the most important thing you can do is recognize when you must hit the kill switch. And we talk about that a lot in our groups. Yeah, well, that's what it means, isn't it? Can you have inflation and a strong currency? I don't think it's possible. All right, so let's take a look at this one. What do we have here? Okay, we have a monthly rollover. Okay, so we'll call this an M. This is a daily sell. This is a daily exit. This is a daily sell. This is the daily target. Not quite there. Okay? So these monthly guys are thinking what? Well, they're going to measure this to this to this using Fibonacci, and they're still thinking that. The next thing that a bear would think is maybe there will be a monthly double top. Okay? Okay, what did a bull do here? A bull bought the 55. What does that mean? The 55, if you read my book, suggests a double top is coming. That's what it says. I can't take it back. I wrote it. My book's in the Library of Congress for eternity, in perpetuity. Can't take it back. So that's what it says. So what we need here for that to happen is something in the UK. But, you know, the British are raising interest rates, so that's going to stay relatively strong, I believe. But the next thing is, what if the stock market comes down today? Not that it will, but what if? Then the dollar will probably get strong. So I don't know if that's going to happen. It's sort of an if-then statement. Okay. What about euro? Euro working its way down, okay, to the range, right? Now, remember 3 weeks ago, I said, look, follow the pattern. This predicts up. Do you remember me drawing this? And then that predicts down. Okay. And of course, it didn't quite do it. It doesn't matter. But then we're back up here. So what does this predict? Well, you have to now decide where's the bottom of the range. You might say this is the bottom of the range. Okay, cool. Then take your profit. Don't worry about it. Okay. Cool, but it is inside, so don't use your pivots here. This is helpful. 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 Okay, this is helpful. There's a lot of stuff here that they all say the same thing. Bottom of the range. Okay. So yeah, this gets interesting around 112.5, let's say. So 30 more pips down. Okay. That doesn't take into consideration any trend. Okay. That just says sideways. Now, if I were to carry this out further, if I had to guess what this does, it would do this. Down. Wait for it. Down. So I'm holding short. I'm not just targeting the bottom, I'm targeting a new bottom. Okay? I'm playing it like this. You ready? Let's repeat history here. Down, sideways, and we're right here at this moment in this process. That's what I'm planning on. Huh. You don't see it now, but if the S&P 500 comes down, let's say 8%, yeah, you'll see this happen. And then, if I were me, I would buy the S&P 500 if it dropped 8%. In fact, I have a pile of cash waiting. Okay. Now, William says, where do I think? By the way, I don't think. If you want to think, you should learn how to read French poetry. Okay? And then you can think about what all the words mean. I analyze. Okay? So, all I can tell you is based on what this chart tells me right now, 1, 12, 12 is the target. Okay. Okay. Oh yeah, this isn't a fundamental reasoning for dollar strength. Yeah, this is not fundamental, it's seasonal. Okay, so you're going to have to learn global money flow. That's not necessarily fundamental. It's partially fundamental, but it's just strong because it's supposed to be. This is not ECB policy. Nothing has changed in the last 3 days for euro or for dollar, so therefore it's not fundamental. Okay? Okay. Yeah, William, well, I'm a stickler for language because I don't like interpreting what people mean. And don't worry, I do it to everybody, not just in YouTube live streams. Everybody. I just don't, I hate it. I hate listening to the media and they write their sentences poorly. And I'm like, dude, these are journalist majors. They majored in writing and they don't write good. Where they say words out of order. And I know what they mean, but the way they said it, which is the way they wrote it, is actually backwards. And it doesn't, using the English language, they didn't say it right. They changed the subject and all that kind of stuff. I can't think of an example. But I don't like translating. So if you mean what do pivot points suggest the bottom of the market is versus how do I feel about gold? I don't feel anything about gold. It's probably cold. It's probably room temperature. That's how if I felt your gold, it would probably be ambient, right? I don't feel anything about gold. No, I mean, where do you think gold will go in price? Oh, well, that's different, right? So anyways, I pick on people. So it's not you personally. But, dude, humans are complicated enough. If we have to stop and translate everything that what people say and what they mean are slightly different, I find it just inefficient. So I'm a stickler. Yeah, sure. I'm a stickler. So I'd rather say change the way you say it, but for me to do that, I have to then give you the feedback, or you have to give me the feedback. But the thing is, then we'll change the way we communicate, so we just do it effectively the first time without having to stop and translate all the time, right? So yeah. Well, Hope, I'll tell you, YouTube is wonderful because when I first started trading Forex, there was no YouTube. It hadn't been invented yet. So I listen to a lot of music. Did I open any trades today? I think 6. Yeah, I think about 6. Okay. I think, I don't remember which ones, to be honest with you. I think Kiwi was one of them. So let's break this up. This is a fiver. Let's break this up a little bit. Yeah. Yeah, good, William, right? People get so offended so often, right? Especially in our cancel culture. Right? Like, you offended me, I hate you. You're like, dude, relax. Yeah. So, anywho, what do we do here? Well, we're at a junction. Okay. Well, what I mean, Hope, though, is like when I'm trading on my own, I do usually have either these behind me. See these TV channels? I also have it on this rig that I'm doing the live stream on. I also have it on my phone. So very often I'm sitting outside. I have this beautiful patio here. I have a patio over there, and I have a deck over there, all with lake views. So it's a good place to contemplate because it's interesting because especially in the summer, I can't even see neighbors. I just see beautiful open lake and I see the island and the forest everywhere. And it's really nice, right? And I do a lot of contemplation, which is a form of fundamental analysis, I think. So anyways, my point is I'll sit outside, I have a cigar, I'm thinking about trading, I'm thinking about the market, I'm thinking about fundamentals. Honestly, I do. I literally think about what I want to do, how things have been going, what adjustments I need to make, when I want to be aggressive and all these things. But while I'm doing that and I'm enjoying the sun on my face and the sound of the, well, I don't know if we have a lot of herons. Have you ever heard a heron? They go, ah, ah, ah. It's not a pretty thing. But, you know, I don't know, the sound of other birds, let's say. I'm enjoying all of that, and that's good sort of spiritually, if you will, as a trader, because I spend so much time in my office. But the other thing is I got my phone going, and I'm listening to CNBC or Bloomberg, right? Which is really cool. If I'm sitting at my desk or outside, I can also just open up YouTube and research almost anything, right? The other day, I was at the front of the house at 10 o'clock at night with a cigar, listening to YouTube. For some reason, I don't even know why, I brought up videos on the petrodollar. I don't know why. I haven't done research on the petrodollar in 10 years, maybe longer. And I was just thinking to myself as I was contemplating the markets, now that the United States is basically energy independent, is there such a need for a petrodollar? Like, we don't need Saudi Arabian oil, although we'll maintain the relationship. So does Saudi Arabia need to buy U.S. bonds? And what would Biden do about it if they decided to sell for euro or something, right? Or Bitcoin. Dude, right? I think Brian Darko and I should all get together and build a cryptocurrency backed by crude oil. Huh? And we have several acres of giant containers just filled with oil, and there it is. Okay? And it'd be interesting, like, you could buy and sell using our cryptocurrency if you are Iran trying to sell your oil to China, and you want to do it not in dollars, but you want to do it in our crypto. Nice! Yeah! Yeah, that's right. And where do we get our oil from? No, we go to Darfur and buy it cheap, just like the Chinese would. Okay? Well, that's what it would be, right, Brian? Backed by crude oil. Anyways, These are the things I think about. Why have a petrodollar when you could have a petrocrypto? Whoa, dude. Because China doesn't want to buy oil with US dollars. Iran spends all day trying to find a way to sell their oil for anything except the US dollar. Where did I go? Well, could be interesting, right? Anyways, here we go. So I sold this. Where did I sell it? Let me take a bit. Okay. Now, check this out. And I was telling the day trading group about this last night. Several of my trades, what I did is I sold here. I went to bed here. And I'm like, I'm so rich. Okay. So happy, right? Oh, all my trades are profitable. And I threw down limit orders like here. To double down. And like on like 5 or 6 different pairs, they all came back and didn't put me back in. You son of a... Anyways, so that's trading for you. So anyways, I sold that here. Yay. Like, dude, seriously? Like, this is just how you trade, y'all, as they say in Georgia. So there's nothing really amazing about this except they're profitable, and that's always nice, right? Yeah, I don't know if I want that. Too much responsibility. Johnny's like, I love that this technology is like you type anything in, you can learn about anything. Yeah, honestly, I do too. It's not the best repository, but it's Web 1.0 basically, right? It's a start. I like YouTube better than Facebook, for example. Okay. So now what do we have here? Well, the challenge is the short run. Okay, the long run says this is coming down to 67. Okay. Okay. 67. Not my opinion. It's actually 66 and 66.87. Okay. Now, that's the longer run. That's the next few weeks. What does this green zone mean? Up. Not that it will, but anybody that wants up now has permission to engage. Do I do stock trading? No, I'm an investor. I'm an investor. Okay, so for example, I'm essentially guaranteed to make millions of dollars because of Forex. Not as a Forex trader, but as a Forex business, I take care of my favorite employee. Oh, that's me. Not FX Bootcamp, but Wayne McDonell. So my Forex business, for example, makes enough money that the company, remember the company is an entity, it's not me. My company makes enough money that it can contribute to Wayne McDonell's retirement account. It's like a 401k. It's slightly different from a 401k, but it's basically a 401k that an employee would be able to contribute to as an employee of a big company, right? A retirement account that your company provides to you. Pretty normal. Well, me, Wayne McDonell, works for a company, or actually owns a company, and the company itself has a retirement account for Wayne McDonell, the person. You understand that? And there's a maximum that the company can contribute. And this all has to do with how much money you make or lose and stuff like that. So I just happen to make enough money where I could contribute the maximum amount to this retirement account for, and by I mean the company, can contribute from its profits. Because remember, the company pays taxes, right? And then I have to pay taxes. So the company says, well, there's this profit that it has to pay taxes on, but it can contribute, I think it's $3,333 a month. Or it can just pay the $3,333 to taxes. What would you do? What would you do? You had a choice. Pay yourself $3,333 every month, or pay the government $3,333 per month. What would you do? Well, of course, you'd pay yourself. Now, you can't spend it. You can't go to, I don't know, wherever you spend that kind of money. You can't spend it. This is money for that the company would pay taxes. Okay? So you have the choice. I don't want to pay the taxes. I want to pay myself. So what happens is the corporation now puts it into a retirement account controlled by Wayne McDonell. How nice is that? Okay? Every month it goes in there. So that's what? It's almost $40,000 a year, right? Cool. Now, I don't get to spend it. I don't buy TVs or private jets and stuff like that, right? No, it goes into a retirement account. The cool thing is I don't pay taxes on it now. The company didn't pay taxes on it. You understand? It would have just gone to the government anyways. Another $10 trillion for COVID, right? Like, dude, what a waste of money. So now this goes back to the person that asked about the stock market. I didn't give it to the government. Instead, I gave it to myself. The deal is this. I can invest it. So now there's a trading account attached to this retirement account. So it doesn't sit in cash. And I buy stock with it. I can buy ETFs. I don't think I can actually buy an index. Actually, I can. I can buy SPX and XPY. But anyways, so I can build my own stock portfolio. I can invest the whole thing. I avoided paying corporate taxes, and I'm not paying personal taxes. I will pay personal taxes at the end when I draw it out because I don't have money, or more likely, you're forced at certain ages to take a certain amount out. Whether you need it or not, the government forces you to withdraw some of the money every year, and then you pay taxes then. You understand this? So imagine this, 40,000 that I put in last year, and this year it grew at 30%, right? But let's not say that. Let's say on average it only grows 10%. Okay, in year one. Okay, and I have 20 years to retirement, let's say. So year 2, year 3, year 4, year 5, year 6, year 7, year 8, so on and so forth. 40,000, another 40,000. These are K's, by the way. Another 40,000, another 40,000, another 40,000, another 40,000. This all would have gone to the government. You understand this? All right. So here's the question. After 1 year growing at 10%, how much is year 1 worth? I would have made 4,000. In year 2, I have 44,000 times 10%, 4.4. Okay? Then in year 3, 5.2, right? In year 4, 5.9. In year 5, and you see this? So you compound this out at the end of 20 years. Year 1, I have, let's say, 180,000. I don't know if that's right, but maybe not that far off. Okay, so last year, I made, just on this scheme, by the time I retire, so last year money, which would have been just taxes anyways, compounding at 10% for 20 years, 21 years from now, this 1 year I made an extra $200,000. Do you think that helps me when I'm 65 or 70 and I want to touch this money? Cool. And I'm like, well, I didn't pay taxes, but I paid myself $200,000. Now I'll have to pay taxes on $200,000, so I might only get 120 out of it. Okay. Year 2, though, I would have made what? 190,000. Year 3, 175,000, because it's compounding for less years. And this in year 4 from now, I didn't pay 40,000 in taxes, but instead paid myself 161,000. So on and so forth, right? So if you can imagine how this works out over 20 years, dude, just out of this scheme alone, I'll probably have $3 million before taxes, let's say. Just running a Forex trading business. It's a different business, Russell. Okay? Yeah, I own multiple businesses. Yeah. Okay, but you see that? How many people would like to do something like this? Yeah. Yeah, and Russell, back when I had, 5 coaches, the company was like, you can just imagine I had a payroll of 5 people and an expense on top of that of hundreds of thousands of dollars per year. So if you added it all together, I don't know if anyone ever tried to do this, but you kind of guesstimate how many members I had, and then try to guess how much these coaches made and how many I had, and then me going and spending hundreds of thousands at conferences and this, that, and the other thing. You add it up and you're like, dude, I don't think this guy made any money. I think you could venture to guess it. You're like, right. Yeah. William's like, I do all, okay. Yeah. So anyway, so going back to this is just smart, right? Smart, right? Right on. Bankers. Well, bankers don't have to do this. You don't want to know a banker in this case matrix. You want to know an entrepreneur and a small business owner, because all small businesses do this. Now, the interesting part is I get to trade the money. So this goes back to the question, do I trade stocks? No, I invest into stocks. Okay. Well, so again, good lawyers, They're overeducated and probably the worst investors. And accountants don't know shit about taking risk. There's some accountants here too, so I got to be careful. But no, but this idea of most accountants that I know are not good investors because it's a different thought process, and they're smart. And I'm telling you, I find accounting difficult. Okay, I even took an accounting class at Harvard Business School. Okay, like, dude, good. Not a bad place to learn accounting, right? But it's just not the way I'm wired. And it just reinforced that I want to hire a really good accountant. But I don't think I would take investing advice from an accountant. Okay, now, cash flow analysis and balance sheet analysis and all that super, super important. And tax strategies around that could be very interesting. If my accountant can also do that, that would be great. But to be an investor, you have to take risk, and accountants are not risk takers. Okay? They're going to help you protect what you got most of the time, right? So anyway, so that's kind of like, that's how I would say. So if you want to talk about like what I just outlined, you want to talk to a small business owner. That kind of stuff, right? So anyway, so now I have that retirement account, and I can manage it because I'm also a professional. So that's why you should be a professional trader. So now based on things like macro econ, okay, I can build my own portfolio inside my trading account. And I'm actually doing that. I'm taking along lots of like long shots because I also have other money in the stock market. You have to understand that's just my trading company's retirement account for me. And I manage that, and I buy things like, I bought like XPeng, for example, and I'm up something like 80%. Now, that's something I might hold for 20 years. That could do really well in 20 years from now. But I also have my retirement account. This is confusing, right? You're like, wait, what? Well, I have a corporate account, but I also have my trading account. And that is managed by wealth managers. And that gets invested into like mutual funds and ETFs and all that kind of stuff. So I don't need to do that myself and compete with other portfolios that I also own as assets. So instead, I take this money I would have given to the government and wasted. Instead, I say, well, I'm going to bet on some longer shots, right? Some riskier investments. So therefore, I can buy a Chinese electric vehicle company and hold that for 15 or 20 years, you see? And a $15 stock could become a $500 stock. I'll give you an example. I worked at Apple. Okay? And right? Cool. Yeah. And I bought Apple shares for $6. And I held it for like 25 years. Ha! I made money on that deal, by the way. Okay? So the same thing like with XPeng. I looked at NEO. NEO's cool. I looked at XPeng. I bought this one because I think it was 60% of their employees are engineers. Which means they're not really a car company. They're a software and engineering company. Which I thought of it this way. A company like Volkswagen is going to say, holy crap, we're way behind everybody. And we need to get into the EV game fast. We need to do something now because everybody is beating us and we're in the laggard. What can we do to get tech now? Then they go over and because you can just buy batteries. That's not really what you need. And you can buy electric motors, but can you make the autonomous software yourself? No, you need billions of miles of data, and you just can't do that quickly. So instead you buy Xpeng, turn Xpeng cars into Volkswagens, and get immediate access to China. And make Volkswagens. Remember, most of the company is the software anyways. So you can either throw a VW badge on an Xpeng car or just change the car to look like a Passat. Who cares? Dude, you can redesign your car. It's a Passat. Don't worry about it. Well, it used to be an Xpeng. Now it's a Volkswagen Passat. But you get the tech and you get the market. And I'm like, yeah, I like that play. So I bought it. Okay. Audacity Capital. Okay. Okay. So anyways, I get to do stuff like that, right? I get to do stuff like that. So it's my play with the money account because I didn't have to pay taxes anyways. Cool. All right. So let's take a look at what else is going on. Euro is still fairly weak. Aussie's bouncing, but at a logical place. Okay, this green means bounce. This green means bounce. This green means bounce. We already green bounced here, I think. No, we didn't quite even get there. And then this, okay, this is the opposite. This is where we were planning a change of direction in oil. Or sorry, in USD Kitty CAD. We'll see. So the standard place for a bear to sell this, okay, should have been here. Okay. Now, if you're using pivots, the next place for price action is here. Okay. So what does the chart say? The chart says if you're playing this like an R1, then the bottom is an S1 and it's a range. The next thing is if you're playing this like it's a 55, it's a double bottom, which at the very least either creates a range or a reversal. And by double bottom, high or low is fair game. So what did we know 12 hours ago when I met with the day trading group? Look at that, more than 12 hours ago. 14 hours ago, I met with the day trading group. And what did we say about this? Well, we talked about everything I just talked about. Can you see I also outlined the monthly plan, the weekly plan? Okay. Actually, this was yesterday's plan, so I got to remove that. So that one we got correct on Sunday. Then on Monday, I planned this out and said, this is what the chart says if you're a bull, up to here. And then this is for the rest of the month. This is also like the rest of the day, the rest of the week. So what does it mean? Okay, well, let me go into a smaller time frame and Spain it to you. I'll Spain it right now. What it said when we were here was this. Pachow! Yeah, boy! Hope says no one will beat Elon. Doesn't matter. It's not about Elon. Okay? I don't need to beat Elon to make money on that. Okay? 1099 as an employee? No, that's for poor people. Robin says, yeah, doing the radars and stuff. Yeah, I don't want to do that kind of a deep dive. It's just more like I wanted EV, I got it. Now I'm done. Okay, so with the other trades, so like I do things like I looked at the top 3 Chinese EV manufacturers, analyzed them. One company focused on making cheap cars. The other company focused on making a lifestyle around EV cars. And the third company focused on the engineering software development side of making autonomous vehicles. So I picked the engineering one. I said, that's the way I want to go. Good enough. Threw the money down. Done. See you in 20 years. Hero or zero. Okay. Then I wanted to get into European banks. So I basically put German banks versus Swiss banks because I don't think I have the nerve to buy French banks or Italian banks, right? Like, just not in the question. Okay. Just like, no, thank you. So German banks versus Swiss banks. I looked at a couple. I did some analysis and I bought one. Done. Okay. That's it. Then I want to get into some other area and I look at those companies and I make right? I compare 2 or 3 or 4 together. Then I do something and then I'm done. Yeah. Robin's like, Italian banks sound good. Yeah, if your name's Robin, right? Robin Banks. Dutch banks, sure. Yes, Dutch banks are very good. That would probably be my next move, right? So anyway, so that's it. So we covered a lot of topics today. Very interesting. I hope everything goes well for you. I hope you find lots of money on the pips rain out of the sky for you. Yeah, no, that's the big one, obviously, right, Pete? So, yeah. Okay. So, will you guys be here tomorrow? I hope so. Make sure you subscribe, like, and comment. Make sure you take notes and timestamp. And make sure you visit tradersway.com and open up a demo. Look at that, guys, though. William has to share 50% of his profits with his proprietary investment firm. Cool. Sounds terrible. Anyways, peace on earth. May the pips be with you. May your profits be above average. Smell you later, dog. Hey, that just happened.